Alright, so we're up this morning again. I got about 20 messages I ain't answered yet because they're not saying nothing new, so ain't no point in really arguing with the same people after over 15 years of doing so. Right? I'm just gonna let them keep saying the stupid stuff they're saying now. So when you have people attacking you, though, no matter what the problem is, right? Calling you gay, calling you this, calling you that. If you don't feel it, they can't make you feel it either way. And, right? Like I keep telling you, right? Some people might think they're gay and feel sure of it, right? You can't change their mind by saying, well, no, you don't, right? That ain't gonna work either. But, I never felt gay. Right. I always liked little girls even differently than little boys, right? Right. What I grew up around, right? Now, you're also told, though, boys also grow out of that not liking little girls when they hit puberty anyway, right? And some want to become a little girl, right? I was watching Good Morning America, and they were talking about Dwayne Wade's child feeling transgender, right? All right. Well, according to the story, they knew since she was 3, right? Okay, you know, right? Right. Just like I knew I was straight all my life, right? I've always liked girls. I've always liked kissing girls and being around girls. And, unless I'm a transgendered lesbian who likes, women, I'm straight, right? To if you want to identify me as gay or transgender, I can be a lesbian on my female side and straight on my male side, right? See, another thing they're not helping you understand, and this is because of how they look at male and female as the physical form and not internally, right? Which is what Paul's bringing out. Yes, we're men and women, but the male and female are one in Christ Jesus. And how is that done? By the X factor, right? The X and the Y is both from the male, and 2 X's are from the female. He's like one or the other, right? And she's both, right? In a way, right? 2 X's to XY. Well, they're not telling you everything to begin with to where you can really determine what gay or straight or transgendered is anyway. See, some people can't handle the full truth, right? But if you can, it's 100% the truth, right? The rest of it is part of the truth. Whether you're 60-fold or 30-fold, right? There's just certain things you can't handle, I guess, right? So, when you're trying, though, to live your life, right? People can't tell you how you feel, no matter who they are. Now, if you're 50 and they're messing with you about your hair again, and you got hair, don't worry about it. If you're losing your hair or you're bald at an early age, again, that means you have a bald gene, right? You can't do nothing about that either. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's in the genetic pattern, right? Now, just as someone can be real hairy, someone can have less hair. Like one of my friends, Teresa, right? She was kind of fair complected and didn't have a whole lot of hair. Now, the thing is, though, if you get surgery, you're altering yourself either way. But guess what? They can do that. You can do that. But there again, don't lie to people about it either way. But you cannot tell another person or pick on them or change them either way. If someone feels straight, they're straight. Now, some people, though, weren't raised that way. Some people were picked on. When they tried to come out to their father or mother or whoever, they weren't supported, right? At that time, right? Because of how people looked at it. Right. They had a different idea of it, right? Well, that's probably through misinterpretation of some of the things the prophet Moses said, right? Now, Moses is a prophet, right? But he is still a man, right? When you put a man's views above God, right? He becomes your God, not God. When he is instead of God, as God told Moses. But he also got in trouble, too, by doing things his own way sometimes, too, right? For instance, the Lord told him to speak to the rock, and he struck the rock in anger. And he was punished for that to not enter into the promised land, right? So he's still a man, Jews, right? Careful who you worship and how you worship them. No. Now, worship has to do with servitude as well. I'm not saying everything Moses said was wrong or right, but you can misinterpret it if you weren't actually there and you don't know what all it means in a book. Why is that? A book conveys ideas to a point, but it's still not everything the author knows or understood, right? Now, but there's another way to look at the serpent in Eden if it's a human being. If the penis, right, is near a fig tree, right, and Eve is coming towards the fig tree to eat of its fruit, perhaps, right? And she sees the serpent and something starts talking to her. You don't suppose it's another human being with their penis erect? And she sees, again, the penis as a serpent. Possible, right? She's innocent, right? She don't know what we know now about it, but again, looking back, Moses is telling you something is different about this serpent too. It talked to her. Well, only a human being can communicate that way. Or an angel of the Lord who's in a rebellion from God, maybe. Well, the same is true of Balaam's donkey. There was an angel that withstood Balaam as he was going about his thing to curse Israel, being asked by another king to do so. Well, the angel of the Lord withstood him, right? And the donkey saw the angel, but the man did not. Now, could the donkey really speak? No, the angel spoke as if it was the donkey, right? Because see, the angel of the Lord made all creatures, including the donkey, and is the firstborn of every creature. There's another way to look at that too, right? It really heard the angel of the Lord speaking as if it was the donkey. You understand? But the donkey still does not have vocal cords to communicate like a human being, right? All you hear with a donkey is like, ee-aw, ee-aw. You know what I mean. Though some men are acting dumb, like a donkey, as Peter pointed out, right? Or an ass. Now, you don't have all the answers. All you can do, like me, is try to figure it all out or part of it out. And when you do that, you're going to get partial results. There's a difference in doing something fully and doing something partially as well. One will save you, one won't. You're just part of the crowd then. But of course, people don't want to hear but what they want to hear too. You can't make them hear you, right? But you can try to tell them anyway. And you know what they're saying, so all you can do is keep talking about it because they won't, let it go. They're pretending you're the one with the problem when really it was them the whole time, right? Plus, times were a changing back then, right? You know what I mean, right? Because between 90 to 2000 to now, people are starting to accept the LGBTQ community, right? And even Christians have to learn to deal with it differently than they did in the past. Perhaps, like Jesus was pointing out about the disciples picking corn on the Sabbath day, you got your understanding of it wrong, right? Now, do you think, though, they really stoned the guy who picked up sticks on the Sabbath day, which would be highly cruel? Or is it a story of what not to do? Don't stone someone, though, who just picks up sticks on the Sabbath day. That's going overboard with the law. But of course, if it's in a book, you can go too far with it and actually think, oh, well, I'm really supposed to stone someone who picks up sticks on the Sabbath day. That's probably a sarcastic point Moses is making. Don't carry the law so far that you murder someone in the name of God when God is the creator and Satan is the murderer who taught us to die. Right. And sin and recognize good from evil to begin with, which is why you think homosexuality is a sin. They're not acting like a normal male or female. They're wanting sex with the same sex. Well, here's why they can do it. It's a physical thing you can do with one another, right? Even if you are straight, you can choose to have sex with a male or a female. But if you're straight, that would be a choice, right? The only way it wouldn't be a choice is if you keep telling them no and they're trying to rape you and you don't even know you had sex with them, right? Because you're resisting them. Saying you're straight. But the reason they're doing that is they're taught everyone's is gay and in the closet. That's not true either. No. You can't say that of people either. See, I know everything everybody says about everything. I've heard it all. Enough to know you're full of shit sometimes when I say you're full of shit. For me. Now, if you believe it, right, and you do it, right, I can't stop you from doing it that way either. Right? And like I told you before, you can't tell me what I do or how I feel. Now, the thing is, though, in America, we have what's called an age of consent, right? If you're a single male, technically, as soon as a female reaches the age of consent, you can legally be with her. Right. Now, if you're single, though, that's the difference. But yet, can a male trick females into be with him and be a player? Yeah. You can do that. But the females ain't gonna like it, right? Either. Unless you get them all on board or something like with Solomon and his 1,000 wives, right? Now, I can't say you can't do both either. Be with one woman or 1,000 women. What? It's in the Bible too, right? In fact, Isaiah said, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we'll eat our own bread and wear our own apparel unless we come by thy name to take away our reproach. Now, in the Old Testament, reproach to women was considered not having a child. Mm-hmm. Though God deals with both unitship of a male and barrenness of a female in Isaiah as well. Mm-hmm. And talks of both, right? If you can't have a child, the children of the barren are more than of those that have children. Usually you only have one or two or three children anyway. Normally. Yes, Jacob had more children with Leah than the concubine of Leah and Bilhah and all that. And then Rachel finally after 7 years. Well, why do you think some of that happened? He verbally agreed with Laban, right? Not to impregnate Rachel until after 7 years passed. And by then, Leah and the other women had a bunch of children by him too, right? And then Rachel finally, right, had his son Joseph. Now, again, why did she die when she was having Benjamin, right? Because him and Laban cursed the person who stole the idols of the man, right? To die. You think all that's a coincidence, right? No. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And hearing by the word of God, right? Now, if you're all convinced you're going to die, you're what? Going to die. And you're saying it. But if I'm telling you Jesus could resurrect me from the dead and heal me like the Wolverine, what's going to happen with me? You're going to be healed like the Wolverine. Right. Even if I have sex with a woman. No. Now, we don't have a problem because I keep telling you I want sex with the woman. But if a male tries to be with me, we're going to fight. Because I'm telling him, no, I don't do that. Right. That's really how it works in the real world. Like I told you, right? Now, also, someone's perception of you doesn't have to be yours. Either. And all I can tell you is, like with my hairline, one side is different than the other. One goes up a little bit, but that don't mean I'm going bald, right? See, I don't let that worry me. Why? If I do, I might actually lose my hair because of worry, right? My hair might actually go gray because of worry, right? You understand what I mean, right? Stress. See, they're trying to stress me out too by calling me gay, by calling me a pedophile or whatever they're doing, right? When I don't feel that way and I keep telling them that, right? Now, that's why I respect people who tell me they're gay and I don't try to tell them they're straight. If you tell me you feel transgendered and want to check off a list, by the way, right? And think you identify as a female, that's okay, right? Well, one thing they're not telling you is you are half female. You're your mom and your dad. That's why the male and female are one in Christ Jesus. Now, John went as far as to say Jesus might have had breasts of a woman between the time of the Last Supper and when he saw him on the cross. You're not putting two to two together to understand why he said that, right? That way either. He also mentioned a girdle about them, right? Well, if you're a hermaphrodite and you're circumcised, yet you have both the penis and the vagina, right? Then during your teenage years, you develop breasts. The only way to hide it is to wear a leather belt or girdle, which is another word for the word girdle. Now, another thing is a belt can be pocketed. Now, another word for it would be bra. Now, even on Seinfeld, though, Some men get man titties, man boobs, right? That's not a problem either unless you want to pick on people who are overweight and are being a dick. You can do that too. But if the majority of the people know that's wrong and get behind the person, you're going to be looked at as the asshole anyway. Another problem is when you try to bully people, they might bully you back. Like when they approached Jesus with their dumb questions, he answered them in a way they understood, right? What was really going on, right? It's like the Samaritan and the other people who went around the guy injured in the street, so to speak, when he was going to a city, right? And was attacked by thieves and robbers, right? But left for half dead, right? Again, that's what I'm telling you. If I was attacked at the car wreck or three-story fall as well over bullshit, right? People trying to make me gay. Which you can't make a straight man gay if he still wants a woman after you attack him either. That ain't working either, is it? I'm still wanting a woman. So again, when people try to tell you, though, who you are and they're wrong, just tell them you're wrong, right? You can do that too. That's also freedom of speech. Now, since they're still talking about the same stuff, I'm just going to keep talking about it in the videos and not respond to them because I done said everything anyone can say to anyone about that stuff anyway. You just get tired of repeating yourself and having to type all that shit out anyway over and over again, right? If they still want to bring it up, that's fine. I'm not, I've done made my stance and I'm going to keep doing videos and they're not going to stop me anyway. But like I said, I work with all people and I thank God and Jesus do, but Satan doesn't, right? And that's where you get confused too, Christians, until they die. And they can even make a deathbed confession like the thief on the cross. You're not to judge them. Billy, Frank. No, you're not. You're playing God to them. You're playing Satan to them, one or the other. Now, one doesn't judge. One loves perfectly. One does, and one condemns you and gets you to condemn others to make you a sinner with him. Right? Figure out who's whom first. Like Jesus said, if you don't know what right is, that's the first thing you got to figure out is what you're truly doing wrong, or you can't help nobody, not even yourself, if you're just following the crowd as well. Exactly. But y'all have a good morning.